All right, let's get to the topic. The topic of this week's podcast is factoring companies. Now, for those of you watching on YouTube, my name is Mike. I am the host of the FBTV Podcast. You're invited to subscribe to our podcast. You can do that on your favorite podcasting app. Just look for FBTV on your favorite app that you use and follow us. Give us a thumbs up. Matter of fact, if you are watching this video, it would be quite helpful if you subscribed, gave us a thumbs up, all that fun stuff, gave us a like, rang the bell. That helps us grow our YouTube channel as well. But the topic for today is going to be factoring companies. I've talked about factoring companies before, but this week I had an opportunity to talk to an individual that worked for a factoring company. Not going to name any names or anything like that. And I was actually talking to the factoring company for a client. All right. Looking it over on their website, it looked really, I got to say, I was sort of impressed. I thought, well, maybe this factoring company, maybe they've got it figured out. I mean, they had advances, they helped your credit, because any broker, you're fighting that uphill battle with credit. But I talked to the guy, and he was a real friendly sort. Gave me a lot of information, but the fees were going to be 3% of gross invoice. So if you had it was $3 out of every $100 was going to be your fee. There was a 2% escrow or holdback. So when you got your money, they would advance you the invoice the overnight or the next day, the way I understood. It would be direct deposited into your account. But your initial deposit would have been 95%. 3% was going to be the fee, 2% was held back for escrow or whatever you want to call it, reserve money that you would get when the customer actually paid the factoring company. They deposit the rest, that other 2% into your account. Okay, not so bad. Okay. One question when you're dealing with a factoring company you want to ask, is it recourse or non-recourse? Recourse means that if your customer does not pay the factoring company has recourse on you to pay the whole freight bill. Non-recourse, just the opposite. They're taking the hit themselves. Now, this factoring company I was talking to was recourse. If my company or if my customer didn't pay within, I think it was a 90-day period, the factoring company was coming to me. They were going to come to me for that money, and that's always been a problem with me because I've always told broker agents, whenever I've consulted broker agents, any company, when you do a broker agent agreement, if the brokerage comes back on the agent for the full payment of an unpaid invoice because the customer didn't pay for whatever reason, I always thought that was wrong. Yeah, you come back to me for the money I made, but you're the one that approved the credit, not me. You're the one that said, yeah, I can use that customer. You're the one that said, yeah, we'll accept their credit risk, not me. But hey, we're a partner in this deal. I understand. If the customer doesn't pay, you get my commission back. But I'm not going to be responsible for the full invoice. Well, with this factoring company I was talking to, that's the way it was going to be. I was going to be responsible for the full invoice. Well, isn't that a conflict? The factoring company is approving the credit, for that customer. Well, if the customer doesn't pay, the factoring company is coming back on me. Okay, hey, I get it. You get your 3% back. That I get. All right? We're partners in that deal, but the broker being responsible for 100% of the freight bill when you're the one that approved that customer to begin with, you approved the credit? No, I don't get that. So you want to be careful when you're dealing with the factoring company. Now, as I talked to this individual at the factoring company, he told me that the factoring company actually had receivables insurance. Or I may be calling it wrong, but that's pretty much what it was. So they had insurance for non-payment. You know, if the customer didn't pay, they had insurance. So I kind of cornered him, and I wish I would have had it recorded, but I said, now wait a minute. You have recourse on me if the customer doesn't pay, that I have to pay you back for the full invoice, but you have insurance against that, so you're kind of double dipping. He had no answer. You want to check this stuff out. When you're dealing with a factoring company, check it out. Now, all in all, when it came right down to it, it wasn't a bad thing. The factoring company thing wasn't that bad. If you were a broker, one broker, it was you were a one-man operation. You didn't have other brokers out there in the field. Wasn't really that bad of a deal. You broker a load, approved customer, you get your money tomorrow. You know, you're making money pretty quick, as long as the customer paid. Now, with that said, most customers will pay. They may be slow pay, but generally they'll pay. And the reason is simply because if the customer doesn't pay, well, they're going to have a hard time getting a truck. See what I mean? Nobody's going to want to move their freight if they got a reputation of not paying. But if you planning on having a brokerage and outside agents, do the math. You know, you're going to find you're really not going to be making a lot of money if you're paying an agent 60% of net. Okay, you know, the minimum net that you'd ever want to do on a load is going to be 10%. 60% of that 10% is going to the agent. The other, you know, you got 3%, 5% actually coming off the top. You're going to get enough money to pay the truck, pay the agent, maybe, depending on the net. And when I was doing my math, a lot of times I was actually, I'd be making money when the customer paid, but until the customer paid, it was costing me money because I was having to pay the agent more than what I actually received from the factoring company after the advance payment. So do your homework. Always do your homework. You know, before you agree to a factoring company, what they're offering, read the fine print. Read it. Read it all. The other thing, too, you want to check out is how soon can you start direct invoicing the customers that you have previously factored. Well, with this company I was talking to, the fellow said it was after their final invoice was paid, after there was no balance on the books from that customer. So if your customer is paying, you know, in 30 days, that means you cannot move a load for that customer for 30 days because you can't put anything on the book. Or you can put it on the books, but you can't invoice them for 30 days until the account's clear with the factoring company. You know, 2, 3, 4 weeks, that's a lifetime when it comes to working with the customer. You know, you're the freight that you were moving on a regular basis, somebody else is going to be moving that by the time you're able to get back and start direct billing that customer. So check it out.